What's up, everybody? My name is Godzi, and welcome back to some more Umineko When They Cry questions arc. The last episode, we continued with Chapter 2, and there was just a lot of discussion regarding Beatrice and what her motive is in existing. And yeah, that's basically how I can sum it up best. No group had the same idea. It was just kind of chaos. So, regardless, let's get back into this. I think, yeah, Shannon and Cannon were talking to each other, and yeah, okay, let's get into this. Shannon. Oh, wait. Okay. I've been calling to you for some time now. Also, my voice is gonna sound a little probably deeper because I just ate a Cliff Bar, not sponsored, but it was delicious, and my throat is weird in the fact that if I eat something like potato chips or like a granola bar, a Cliff Bar, something like that, my throat just decides, yeah, I'm gonna be like an octave deeper for no apparent reason. Well, it's not a whole octave, it just feels slightly deeper, so sorry. Shannon jumped at the sudden sound of Genji's voice. Apparently, he had called for her repeatedly. She hurriedly answered. When she turned back, Cannon had disappeared. It seemed he didn't feel like showing his tears to anybody, which is fair. Yes, I'm sorry for being careless. I entrusted Cannon with lunch, but it should have been you, as the next in rank after me, who carried it. Beatrice is the most honored guest of this house. There's no more honored guest than her. Please think of her as another master and be polite. Fucking hell, Goda. Please take extra care that you make no blunders, understand? It is quite painful for me to entrust this to someone as inexperienced as yourself, but there's nothing we can do about the house's rules. Carry out your duties with the utmost of care. Goda had officially agreed, but he glared at Shannon with an expression that told her he definitely wouldn't forgive any mistakes. Even Shannon felt that Goda might as well go himself if he was so desperate to go, but she considered this one of her responsibilities as one who had been allowed to wear the Golden Eagle and had to give up. And anyway, I wanted to meet Beatrice. What will I talk about? What will I ask? I don't know. Will this be a meeting of gratitude? Or one of grief? Or else, what? I don't know. Shannon piled the witch's food onto the serving cart and left the kitchen at a slow pace. If you hear thumping outside, my brother's playing basketball, okay? There. The person knocking was Kraus. Father, today is our annual family conference. Haven't the siblings gathered here just to get a glimpse of you? Ah, be silent! I say I won't leave. You're there too, aren't you, Genji? Why haven't you had my food brought here as I ordered you to? Kinzo screamed across the door. Genji was waiting behind Kraus. Your meal has been prepared so that it might be carried to the study. However, Kraus has expressed his wish that you eat downstairs tonight. Father, I'm not asking you to do this every day. Just for this one night, won't you gather together with your family? Who are you calling family? Since when have you Since when have you considered vultures circling in wait for roadkill to be family? Would you call rotting, oozing maggots family as well? Is that another Higurashi reference? My. Kraus shrugged at this answer, which he had half expected. Genji, carry the meal here as you were told. Why don't you listen to what I say? Why? Genji, I leave this in your capable hands. My voice will no longer reach that man. Kraus gave his head a small shake, then quickly turned his back on the door to the study. He had only come calling to save face in front of his siblings, knowing full well how useless this was. After Genji watched Kraus disappear down the stairs, he called again across the door. Master, we have finished preparations for your meal to be carried here. Shall we bring some for Dr. Nanjo as well? Nanjo could be seen in the study. Oh, okay. Because Kinzo had forcefully pestered him into finishing their long-lasting chess game, they had been playing against each other since the early evening. Nanjo had announced as a doctor that Kinzo's days were numbered, so he couldn't refuse if Kinzo demanded that they finish this game while he still lived. Kinzo was thinking deeply about his next move, concentrating more than usual. It had been Kinzo's turn for quite some time, and Nanjo, who was tired of waiting, had randomly pulled out a book on magic that he couldn't understand and was skimming it. Kinzo, you won't think of a good move just by folding your arms and sitting in front of the board. Perhaps we had better take a break and refresh our minds. Be silent. That should be enough to solidify my defense. Will the bishop and the knight be able to penetrate that opening? This whole series is like a giant chess game, Christ. Today, Kinzo was focused on maintaining a strong defense. What? There's another parallel between Umineko and Kingdom Hearts. They're just a big chess game. Normally, Kinzo's motto was that offense was the best defense. However, today was completely the opposite. I am also hungry. Shall we suspend the game here? Besides, I've used my head so much without a break that I'm already feeling dizzy. At this rate, I might not be able to perform at my best. Now that won't do. In chess, both players must always make their best moves. Any other sort of move is merely a nuisance to consider, ruining a game whose focus is predicting your opponent's thoughts. Such a thing considerably reduces our enjoyment. Kinzo sighed deeply and finally shifted his gaze away from the board. That's like the shit you're supposed to say in order to get sent home from school early. You're just like, ugh, I have a stomachache. And so what? You have a stomachache? Go back to class. I can't focus though. Oh, well there's the golden words. I'm gonna call your mom. Chess isn't chess without an opponent. If that opponent is tired and wants to suspend the game, there's no getting around it. True, the goal of chess is for both players to make the best possible moves and aim for victory. It's an intellectual game where reading your opponent is key. But Kinzo, have you forgotten that there's another goal besides victory? What? What other goal could there possibly be? Ha ha ha. To think that you of all people would forget something like that. Is he talking about fun? Chess is a way to pass the time having fun with a friend. Ugh. You've got me there. I believe I once said those exact words to you, long ago. Yes, you've got me there. Kinzo, who almost always wore a frown, relaxed his face for once and laughed. Nanjo felt like he'd been reunited with a close friend he hadn't seen in ages. That's how it is. Now that I've managed to take a shot back at you, what do you say? Will you go down with me and have dinner? Why don't we discuss Kasparov's middle game along with some coffee? An appealing proposition, but I'm afraid I must decline. I can no longer leave this room. After all, the ceremony has already begun. Is that so? Well, my stomach is growling. I will go downstairs. Anytime you feel like it. Nanjo. Thank you. Oh? What could you be thanking me for? We didn't finish our match. However, it seems I have somehow achieved that second goal of chess, which I had forgotten. And it would appear that goal is no less important than achieving checkmate. This isn't like you. Why so sentimental? Why are you happy all of a sudden? You said it yourself, did you not? My days in this world are numbered. Now go, and don't come to this room again. Let us continue this match in the Golden Land. What the fuck? That's fine with me, but we'll have to start over. Losing that rook was a serious blow. Well then, I will see you later. Yes, later. Maybe in the Golden Land, or in Purgatory, or possibly in the next world. I don't understand you, Kinzo. Nanjo didn't say anything beyond that, and with a motion made smooth by familiarity, he pushed the button on the table that would release the auto-lock. Then, after looking at Kinzo's back one last time, he left the study. As he did, Genji's voice came from the hall. If you are ready, master, I will now carry in your dinner. It may be my final dinner. The last supper. I must savor it. Please, prepare it. As you wish. And are your preparations complete as well, master? Indeed. In the time leading up to this day, this room has been carefully wrapped in a multitude of barriers. Even if her roulette chooses me, I will definitely repel it. I will remain alive, and will surely become one of those who reach the Golden Land. I shall repulse the visit of the Reapers trying to drag me off to the land of the dead. Then if that's the case, how'd he die in the first one? I mean, obviously he left of his own volition, or the culprit just tried to kill regardless. I don't know. Excuse me, I have come to serve your meal. Shannon entered the VIP room, bowing her head and pushing the serving cart. The young woman by the window, gazing out into the supposedly empty darkness, was definitely that witch. So, it is Shannon this time. How long it's been? Oh, your face isn't nearly as pale as it once was. I can see you're no canon. I hardly recognize you.
Thank you very much.
Shannon solemnly prepared dinner. There were actually several things she wanted to ask the witch, but they were all jumbled up, and she didn't know where to start. Her heart was also jumbled up, and she didn't even understand her own emotions. So she could only do her job dispassionately, with everything still vague. However, the witch saw what was in her heart. You can't hide anything from a witch.
I won't apologize. I am a witch, after all. Apologize? For what?
Come now. Canon must have told you about it. I only rescued your love life because of my mischievous spirit. It was nothing more than a seed I sowed so I could watch your love grow complicated, become twisted, and fail.
I imagine some people think it's more fun to hear about love than to have it.
You couldn't possibly be trying to thank me, right?
I am. No matter what kind of ulterior motive you had when you gave me the magic to love, it doesn't change the fact that I received it from you. So even if you sowed that seed knowing that the two of us wouldn't be able to stay together for life, I won't hold a grudge against you.
It seems furniture is dull after all. This is where I show my skill by cooking it into something interesting.
I don't understand what you're thinking, Beatrice. You are a great witch, and people like us don't even reach your feet. Nor can we even imagine your grand thoughts. But there is at least one thing I can say.
What is it?
Thank you for teaching me to be human. You said it yourself. I am no longer furniture.
Be silent, furniture. If you were a true human, hearing the announcement of your death on the day that you were to receive an engagement ring should have you dancing around, mad with grief. But what are you doing? Your face looks so enlightened, as though you've accepted everything. Truly an anticlimax, furniture.
No, I am not furniture.
Oh wow, she's actually serious for once. Be silent, furniture.
I won't be silent, because I'm not furniture.
Are you saying you won't obey my orders?
Furniture obeys orders, but a human decides for herself whether to obey orders or not. So I won't obey your orders.
I take back what I said. You really are interesting. If I hadn't sowed those seeds, you probably would have allowed the ceremony to control your fate without clinging to any emotions. But now, you've grown to become something truly interesting. Something that will entertain me to no end. That is well, for I am not fond of boredom. I don't think any of the witches like boredom. Well, the two that we've met. I think it said both of them dislike boredom.
Dinner is ready. Here you go.
Doesn't this look delicious? If Godzi makes it to the Golden Land, perhaps I shall commission him as my chief cook. I'm sure he'd actually really like that.
I heard from Canon something about how if I rejected George's proposal, you promised not to make me a sacrifice.
Indeed, I said as much. You would make an ideal potential sacrifice for the second Twilight. But because Canon cried and screamed, asking that I spared you, I graciously listened to his words. With the condition that you abandon your engagement, of course. See how gracious I am?
What a foolish offer, and what a foolish threat. So you set to thoroughly bully Canon, didn't you?
Oh? So you comprehend? Apparently, Shannon had seen through it. She had apparently guessed at how the witch had bullied and humiliated Canon, with that horrible promise as bait. I made him crawl on the carpet and kiss my shoes. And that's not all. Do you want to hear the other ways in which I humiliated him? Shannon silently shook her head.
I finally come to understand you. You like to bully, confuse, and trouble people, and you do it to entertain yourself. So now I know for sure, the one single way I can resist you.
And what might that be?
I don't care about you. I'll carry out the fate that has been given to me. That's all. I won't entertain you.
I don't care about you? Oh. The witch's features twisted in hatred for just an instant, It disappeared immediately, but the expression that briefly rose to her face was rare for the witch, whose malicious smile usually never faded for a second. I see, so you might resist me in that way. How amusing, how truly entertaining. I'll kill you, you and your lover both.
If that's the fate you've decided upon, do as you will. I won't be afraid, and I won't stand against you. After all, I don't believe that the cruel fate that's coming is controlled by your will. We humans know nothing about fates that might come to pass in the future. That's why I'll live to the fullest until the last instant, following my convictions and the fate set before me. Fate is just a roll of the dice. There's no malice in it. Even if you claim there is, I won't believe it.
Christ. Oh, so even though you've quit being furniture, you have no fear of death. It seems you believe this will bore me, but you couldn't be more wrong. The thought of seeing whether you can hold on to that view until the last moment merely serves to intrigue me more and more.
I can't stand this. Why did you take the form of a human, appear in front of us, speak with human words, and ridicule us? If you hadn't appeared in front of us, if you hadn't predicted the future, we would have been able to live life to the fullest until the last moment. That's what witches do. I live off your fates, reigning as a high-order being does over... what? Reigning as a high-order being does over low-order beings? Your fates are nothing more than fragments. If I cut my hands together, I could scoop out as many of those as I want. Just like how no matter what the beef cows I raise might babble, it doesn't change the fact that I'll be having them for dinner. We are powerless, so we cannot fight against your ceremony or fate. But I can make you unhappy right now.
Oh? And how are you planning to accomplish this?
By walking away from this place right now. No matter how I respond to your words, it will only amuse you. Refusing to respond to your questions is my only method of resisting you.
I see. You might be able to take a shot at me, but you cannot defeat me, yes? I have the power to kill anyone for eternity. I cannot wait to see whether you can keep up that resistance in an endlessly repeating cycle of death and rebirth. Don't you forget it, okay? You spoke those words yourself.
Well then, if you will excuse me, if you need anything, please call me.
Shannon gave a reserved bow and faced away. With that gesture, maybe she really did take a shot back at the witch, just as Beatrice had said. Because when the witch called out again, she sounded a little more quick-tempered than she had before.
Cannon thanked me.
Can't you? Can't you thank me for bringing you your day of rest?
Furniture may be happy when their day of rest comes, but I am a human, so I have nothing to thank you for. Is that all you have to say?
You plan to accept George's ring, yes? Don't forget that if you do, I will abandon the promise I made with Cannon. The promise that you would not be selected as a sacrifice.
If you need anything else, I'll have someone else come. If you'll excuse me.
A flat-out interruption. Shannon still hadn't answered her, and the sound of the door closing came instead of an answer. Shannon's resistance probably struck far more deeply into the witch than Shannon herself thought, because an expression of hatred again rose to Beatrice's face. She had made Cannon submit, even though he hadn't been ensnared until the end, whereas Cannon, who had been so easily ensnared before, refused to submit this time. I see. So the state of affairs is amusing after all. Perhaps I really am still young. This is why I haven't been tired of life after 1,000 years. Whoa, big flash. So now what? Rain? Are we going to the dinner table where they're gonna read the letters now? Why are there 2 letters though? I actually never thought of that. This was the most fabulous part of the family conference. Dinner. In the past, when Kinzo had been serious about the conference, he'd taken everyone's yearly gathering for dinner very seriously. Any embarrassments during dinner would shame him greatly as the host. So he had given Natsuhi stern orders to avoid such mishaps at all costs. Because of that, she and Kraus eventually hired Goda, who had confidence in his cooking abilities. Thanks to that, they became able to serve wonderful dinners they could be confident in. But by that time, Kinzo had closed himself up in his study and never appeared for dinner. Maybe you could call that ironic. When the main dish for tonight, calf steak, was set out, Goda began to describe it proudly, further stimulating everyone's appetites. Oh boy. Enjoy hearing me try to pronounce a ton of words that I've never heard of. The sauce here is Bordelaise. Of course, the red wine base I used was excellent, even among those made in Bordeaux. But in addition, I prepared an original blend of this house. A blend of choice alcohol from around the world to further deepen the taste. The sauce is limited to this year. I sincerely hope you all enjoy your meal. Isn't that wonderful? However, isn't Bordelais sauce common to French cooking? It almost seems like using alcohol from outside France with that is heresy. Kraus, today is the annual family conference. As a dinner for those who normally live far away and who have traveled far from across the world to gather together. I realized it would be most fitting to have a sauce made from a blend of fine alcohols from all over the planet that have never met each other before. So I had it specially prepared. Wonderful! A truly wonderful cook, that's what you are! Food and medicine work twice as well if you sell it right. It's already twice as delicious as normal food, and the advertising makes it twice as good as that. The taste keeps doubling and doubling. Come on, brother. That question of yours was obviously a plant. A plant. No doubt about it. You totally set Goda up to steal the show on that one. You think so? I thought there might be some people here who didn't notice that today's food was in the French style. After all, Eva just said that avoiding butter was a virtue, but that's the Spanish style. Well, I guess they do share a border, right? Except for Andorra, which is right in the middle of those two countries. Andorra is such a weird country. Like, it's just right in between the border of Spain and France. It's so fucking weird. I don't know how a country that small still exists. Same with, like, Monaco and, like, what are some other really, really small countries? Malta? Vatican? Don't ask why I know a lot about geography. Well, actually, I'll actually explain that. I've always been a huge geography buff. I like knowing where places are. You ever heard of East Timor? Tuvalu? Vanuatu? St. Lucia? St. Kitts and Nevis? Yeah, well, you probably heard of the last couple. I don't know. But, yeah. I know a lot of countries. I've even done a Sporkle quiz telling you to name all of them, and even though it's not all of them because it doesn't have Yugoslavia, I still got 100, haha. Even though you just name them, you don't have to click where they are, but whatever. That's not what I meant. Will you please not take a part of the conversation out of context and make stuff up? It's a very delicious sauce. Goda, you certainly are amazing. It is a great honor to receive your praise. And this is all thanks to Madame's habitual guidance. No, it was all Goda's idea. I only listened to the recipe and approved of it. Goda does seem like a very good cook, but not a very nice person, you know? It looked like the siblings quickly got into a loud argument about the sauce. But for the most part, dinner proceeded peacefully. However, a certain question they desperately wanted to ask burned inside each one of them. It was about that visitor, the 19th person, the Golden Witch. In actuality, Eva and Rudolph and the rest were very much on their guards during this meal. If the mystery guest was ever going to be introduced, this dinner table would be the most appropriate place to do it. However, no place was set at the dinner table for the witch. The family conference would begin in earnest after the meal, and previous experiences told them that it might last until deep into the night. However, they couldn't imagine why such a person should be kept hidden until that late, if they were going to be introduced in the end anyway. Ooh. Tense music. So Eva and Rudolph and the rest were starting to feel a certain suspicion. Perhaps this guest was unknown even to Kraus. If this wasn't an assassin called by Kraus to give him an advantage in the inheritance problem, then maybe they should speak frankly to Kraus beforehand, creating a common front to resist anything disadvantageous to the four siblings. If she was Kinzo's assassin, whose purpose was to keep the inheritance from being handed over to the four siblings, the enmity between Kraus and the other siblings could only become a weak point that benefited the enemy. Well then, please enjoy at your leisure. When he finished explaining the reasoning behind the table setting and the cooking, Goda tried to leave the room, but Kyrie called him to a stop with a small voice. Yes, Kyrie? What is it?
Please excuse me. I was under the impression we had company today, but can we expect to be joined at the dinner table?
Oh, I don't know if she's talking about Beatrice or, Kinzo, but I'd assume Beatrice. She had planned on saying it nonchalantly, but unfortunately, it reached the ears of Natsuhi, who was sitting in the next seat over. It seems that Natsuhi had heard it as, even though the guests are here, why hasn't the host come to dinner? In other words, that Kirie had asked whether Kinzo was going to join them for dinner.
The family head is not at his best, so he said he would take dinner in his study. I believe my husband explained that in the beginning. I'm sorry, that's not what I meant.
Oh, yep. Natsuhi's reaction instantly told Kirie that this unknown visitor was also unknown to Kraus and his wife, which meant, on the chessboard inside Kirie's mind, she could hear the clattering of the pieces as they rearranged themselves. What do you mean? We have company? Battler, who had been sitting next to Natsuhi, seemed to have heard Kirie's words without misunderstanding them. Thinking it strange that someone else would be invited to today's family conference, he spoke up incredulously. And thanks to that, the uncomfortable feeling building in the siblings' chests suddenly exploded. Everyone looked at Goda at the same time. Judging by their reactions, it was clear that no one here had invited that mystery woman. Oh boy. For an instant, Goda was startled to find everyone's gazes gathered on him. But because of his naturally vain personality, this actually gave him a feeling of superiority. Christ. Therefore, he answered in an extremely calm and graceful manner. That is correct. Our guest wanted to eat alone in the VIP room and is being served there. That extremely graceful and reasonable response of Goda's made it obvious to everyone that a 19th person, a visitor, existed.
The VIP room? A guest? What? Who are you talking about?
Natsuhi's words echoed the question that everyone who didn't know... Natsuhi's words echoed the question that everyone who didn't know about the appearance of the Golden Witch was thinking. For a while, Goda was disoriented, caught completely off guard by the sudden interrogation. This was a guest who had been treated with such deep respect. He hadn't imagined that Kraus and his wife might not even know about her. The guest is, Beatrice.
Beatrice! See? Beatrice came! Oh!
Maria had been telling the other cousins over and over again that she had met Beatrice that day. The cousins had answered flippantly, but they hadn't believed. So their eyes grew wide. Sorry, I totally thought you were joking, Maria. So, she really was there.
By Beatrice, you mean that Beatrice with the gold? Ew! I've been saying she exists the whole time! No one believes!
Sorry, Maria, that's not how we meant it. After learning that everyone had doubted Beatrice's existence, Maria, who had been in a good mood all day, completely lost her temper. Oh boy. George, who sat in the next seat over, tried frantically to calm Maria. Goda? Is this some sort of dinner entertainment? Quite a performance. Bro, quit playing dumb. You called her here, right? Called? Called whom? From where?
Brother? Let's be clear about this. Who is she? Surely you aren't going to tell us it really is the Beatrice from that portrait, right?
I don't have a clue what you people are talking about. Goda, you really aren't joking, right? I was just ordered by Genji,
Call for Genji immediately!
When Natsuhi yelled, Goda sped out into the hallway. The sound of the door being thrown open was the spark that suddenly set the dinner table ablaze. So you're saying you're in the dark too, bro? Who called her? Was it Dad? I don't know anything about this. It seems you people think I've been pulling the strings behind the scenes, but that's a huge misunderstanding. Calm down, Kraus. We've gone past the stage of skirmishing with each other. If you're saying even you don't know this mystery person, then something crazy's going on.
Hideyoshi, can't you be a little more discreet with your words? My husband would not invite unnecessary people to the family conference.
Obviously. What are you people talking about? Are you saying the witch of the portrait has broken out of her frame and appeared? It's not as though anyone's actually met with this witch face to face.
I met her.
Oh, they're actually telling us now. Eva and Rudolph nodded at Rose's proclamation.
Oh, I met her too. Uncle Kraus, believe it. Believe Mama. Oh.
The brief tension was broken and Maria also started to make a ruckus. By now, the room was thoroughly wrapped in chaos. I don't have a clue what's going on. So what does it mean? Does it mean the witch who gave Grandfather the gold is showing up as a special guest this year? But is that really true? Aunt Rosa didn't see it wrong, did she?
I met her too!
Aunt Rosa, are you sure?
Yes. Maria and I met her, and we even talked to her. I met her! That was definitely a witch. Believe me.
Okay, so Maria's mentioning how Rosa also met with Beatrice, so I guess Rosa's not Beatrice? I don't know.
I definitely didn't see it wrong or hallucinate or anything. What on earth was that?
Kyrie's not going to speak up, though? In the instant before the typhoon arrived, Rosa definitely met a witch in the Rose Garden. But the scene had been so hard to accept as truth, that the more she spoke of it like this, the less she understood what it was she had encountered. Ironically, since she was losing her composure, the more frantically she tried to cling to her claim, the more confused and hazy the thing she was describing became. Because of that, it only took a single calmly spoken sentence to confirm the nature of what she was describing beyond doubt. I also met with her. I feel like now, at this point, we don't know when people arrived at the dinner table, and if anyone was absent, but at this point, really the only person I can think of who could have possibly been disguised as Beatrice is Kumasawa. But I'm not sure how easy that would be for her to do. Is it possible? Yes, of course. But I don't know how likely it is that Kumasawa, a something holy fuck old woman, dresses up as a 20-something-year-old Beatrice. Unless she's faking her age from the beginning? Which I suppose is certainly possible. Because if she's like super good at makeup, she could just make herself look like an old woman. They did actually mention how she kept getting like fired and rehired. So maybe the original Kumasawa was killed by this fake Kumasawa? I don't know.
I greeted, well, I couldn't really call it that. I exchanged a few words with her. It's definitely not something that Rosa just saw wrong.
Kyrie, are you serious?
Yes, but she didn't tell me her name, so I can't say for certain that she was Beatrice. However, and sorry if this is subjective, but since I met her in the entrance hall, I was able to compare her face with the portrait. My first impression was that this portrait has to be hers. This is all just subjective. That isn't possible. In the first place, where did that woman come from? The only boat arriving today was the one that brought all of you here. Was she on that boat?
Well, it's hard to say for sure. Of course, I don't remember any woman like that getting off the boat with us.
Oh, is that all? Can you prove that there wasn't a boat besides the one we rode on?
You can't. You can't prove one didn't arrive. What is with Eva and proving random shit, like with the receipt and now a second boat? Makes sense. If another boat did arrive, it might be possible to prove it. If someone saw it and said they saw it, then you're done. But it's impossible to prove that such a boat didn't arrive. Even if everyone says that no such boat arrived, that they didn't see it arrive, you can't prove that it didn't arrive secretly. It's that thing they call a devil's proof. It'd be simple to prove that devils exist. All you have to do is meet a devil. But it's impossible to prove that devils don't exist. Just by saying that no one has ever met a devil, you can't deny the possibility that they're hiding away somewhere humans can't go. You can't deny the existence of aliens for exactly the same reason. Until humanity searches the whole of space and can show perfectly that aliens don't exist, you can't be sure that they don't exist. Aliens definitely exist. I mean, the chances of them existing is fucking ridiculously high with how big the universe is. And it's definitely impossible for us to ever check the entirety of space for the existence of aliens. Therefore, while there may be a number of ways to prove that aliens do exist, it will always be impossible to show proof that denies their existence. So, any discussion about there being a second boat would just be a waste of our time. She wasn't on the boat with us. That much is a fact. So she must have arrived on this island through some other means. That's right. There may be no need to discuss how she came here. What's important is that she's actually in this mansion now and doesn't feel like having dinner with us. Okay, let's review. Right now, there's another guest on this island, other than the 18 people with the Ushiromiyas family. And this is a guest even Bro and Natsuhi don't know about, right?
I know nothing.
I don't know what you're talking about. Be silent for now. Your headache will get worse. It is as my wife says. I have no idea what you people have been talking about up until now. Then there can only be one answer. Father called her here. Called her here for today's family conference. Oh no. For the family conference? Again, why? I don't know. I choked on my own spit. I don't know that. I'm questioning you because I thought you might know. Eva, could you give it a rest? Kraus said he doesn't know. So here's what we've got. Father stealthily invited the Witch of the Portrait as a secret guest. And she met with Rosa and Maria and then Kyrie. That's all for now. If she has something to say to us, she can just show herself right away. Now we've got to wonder why she shut herself up without greeting us. Does this mean Dad, who never gave a crap about this family conference in the first place, secretly called a new mistress here, and had her wear the clothes of his ideal witch? This day's too important for that explanation to fly. There can only be one reason. To join in on the family conference. She wants to claim some right to Father's inheritance. Ridiculous. The family head wouldn't have something as filthy as a mistress. I told you to be quiet. I've lived in this mansion with Father all this time, and I've never heard a thing about something like that. If we stretch plausibility to the limit and assume Father had a illegitimate child with some mistress decades ago, then maybe Father searched her out and called her here today. Is that what you're trying to say? Dear, it's absurd to think Father has such a child. No, it isn't. To waste the noble blood of the Ushiromiyas family on a mistress, you think he cares? This is nothing more than a few people making wild claims. It's obviously a fantasy, a delusion, a daydream. Or is everyone taking part in some kind of act to trick my husband? What act? If anyone's acting, it's you. Quit it, sis. Natsuhi may be a bit over-vehement, but she's right. Kyrie saw her. I didn't. Neither did you, sis. But Rosa did. But that means she exists. There are people who can prove she exists, so we're sure right away that she does. It's the opposite of a devil's proof. And I want to meet her too. I want to ask her directly what kind of business she has with the Ushiromiyas family. I agree with you on that. I do indeed wish to inquire as to what business she has on Rokenjima. Don't play dumb. There's only one thing she could be after. Father's inheritance. We should work out our future plans with a lawyer who's not on inheritance issues. If the mistress claims equal rights as mother, then our shares will be cut right in half. Well, wait a second, everybody. Genji will come very soon. He knows everything. I'm sure he'll answer our questions. Until then, let's stop talking about this. Hey you, kids. Sorry, but the adults have to start talking about something complicated. Return to the guest house. Rosa yelled at the children, slightly overcome with emotion. The children didn't understand why they were suddenly being yelled at this time, but even the rest realized it too late. They were talking so bluntly about the filthy topic of the inheritance right in front of the children. Of course, they wouldn't want their children to remain, so they all immediately agreed with Rosa's plan. That's right, just as Rosa says. George, take all the cousins and go back to the guest house. You all play nice together. George, do as you're told. Take all the cousins and leave right now. Wait a second, Mother. We still haven't finished eating. Oh, and dessert hasn't even come yet. Oh! We will have Goda take dessert to the guest house, so leave. Jessica, from here on, the adults will be talking together. Go. Sure, even though I'm still eating. Well, I guess I won't be the only exception. Thanks for understanding, Battler. But you sure are lucky. Huh? Why? I'd want to leave if I could. I bet. I'll let you adults enjoy your happy family chat about the inheritance. I will also leave my seat. At any rate, it appears my turn will not come tonight. Nanjo quietly rose to his feet. From his seat in the farthest corner, he had been calmly watching the whole discussion without butting in. Surely, that reaction of his was very adult, just what you'd expect of a calm old gentleman. When Nanjo rose from his seat, it ended up encouraging the others who were supposed to leave. The children noisily rose from their seats, and as they hurried into the hallway, the servants returned. I apologize for taking so long. I have called Genji. I was checking to see that all of the doors and windows were shut, so it took me some time. My apologies. Come on, children, to the guest house. Goda, my apologies, but could you carry the children's portion of the dessert to the guest house? Ah, is that what you wish? It seemed Goda wasn't amused to see the dinner he'd worked so hard on interrupted like this. He sent Natsuhi a look as though asking her whether that was really okay. Do as Rosa says, and it will not be necessary to set out dessert for us. Do not approach the dining hall until we call for you. Tell the rest of the servants to do the same. Understood? Yes, as you wish. Come, everyone. Shall we go? Maria, you mustn't trouble your mother anymore.
Ew! I want to talk about Beato too! No! Ew! Maria, could you tell us about Beatrice in the guest house? I really want to hear about the witch, okay? Ew! You're pretty darn smooth, George. I'm impressed. Are you sure you don't have kids? You're too used to this. George's words had completely restored Maria's good mood, and now she took the initiative, telling the others to head on to the guest house. Are we not going to read the letter yet? It looked like Goda didn't like being kicked out himself, but he couldn't disobey Natsuhi, so he left the room with Battler and the rest, closing the door. Is there some way I might be of service, everyone? Yeah, there sure is. We've got a whole bunch of questions. In fact, every one of us does. So much that we almost want to have a lottery to see who gets asked first. But no matter who wins the first lottery, the first question will be the same, won't it? That's right. Genji, answer me honestly. Who is this person called Beatrice in the VIP room right now? Oh, and they're gonna not have us do that? Okay. Cool, I don't want to hear them complain for 20 minutes either. Ooh, and the time is, I'm gonna guess 9. Nope, it's 10. Yes, there we go. It's 10 p.m. on Rokenjima. Hideyoshi's claim that advertising doubled the taste was apparently right. After being chased out to the guest house, the kids and Nanjo had gathered in the cousin room and were eating the cake that Kumasawa had brought for dessert. Wait, Nanjo's in there too? It was both wonderful and high class, topped with lavish amounts of cream and decorated deliciously with fruits. But delicious as it was, it didn't taste quite as good for some reason. Without Goda selling it, it isn't nearly as good. And if we ask Kumasawa to sell it, she'd just say it's made of mackerel. Eh? Really? You can make cake from mackerel? Oh no. Oh, absolutely. And as you can see with this very cake, if you mix the squeezed juice of mackerel with flour and eggs before cooking, it comes out all fluffy. That'd be incredible if true. Maybe mackerel cake will show up on the new menu at one of Father's restaurants. After all, mackerel's full of nutrients and sounds healthy. It might get really popular with women and the elderly, but I'm not going to get anywhere near it. Girls won't eat something that weird. Even the elderly would wish to decline. But it's delicious, you know? Kumasawa was really cheering up the mood with her classic mackerel jokes, but the sound of the downpouring rain kept turning their attention towards the mystery guest. In the end, they showered Maria with questions again, since she was the only person here to have met Beatrice. I can't believe she was actually telling the truth. You make it sound like, though you never believed it, this Maria meets a witch business isn't news to you. Yeah, I thought it was just one of those fairy tales you'd expect from a dreamy kid that age. She exists! Beatrice exists! Every year when we come to the family conference, I meet her and we play together. That's right. Although Beatrice doesn't usually show herself, I hear she sometimes unexpectedly appears before honest people with clean hearts. Beatrice referred to that character in the fairy tale about the Rokenjima witch. To keep Kinzo in a good mood, the family and servants acted as though they believed in the witch of his delusions. That's how Rokenjima's fairy tale, or maybe ghost story, had come into being. To the family members who knew that backstory, the fairy tale of the Golden Witch wasn't something to be taken too seriously. However, they were never able to say that out loud in front of Kinzo. Because of that, the legend of the witch carried a lot more weight to someone like young Maria, who didn't know the story of how it had come into being. That's why Maria believed in the legend of the witch. She accepted it entirely. That was only natural for an imaginative girl who believed in witches. So people had avoided saying things that would betray her dream.
On the contrary, they had worked together to say and do things that would help liven up her dreams without her knowing.
So when Maria was showing us that candy that supposedly came from Beatrice, I figured someone subtly slipped it into her handbag.
I have done similar things a few times in the past, secretly placing sweets somewhere. I imagine even Kumasawa, or rather all of the servants and everyone in the Ushiromiyas family, has done it once or twice. So, if it'll make a small, innocent kid happy, you might place a sweet somewhere and have everyone join in on keeping the secret alive for her. Come to think of it, I'll bet you do that kind of thing all the time, George.
Who knows?
It'd probably be boorish to admit such a thing out loud. George admitted it while being extremely wary that Maria didn't find out. In other words, it's kinda like Santa Claus. To protect the kid's dreams, the parents plot together and lie, setting presents at the bedside of a child fast asleep.
After all, you want to protect the kid's dreams, right? Obviously, I've known Santa doesn't exist for a long time now. But if there's no reason to wake up from a dream like that, I wish I could have believed it all my life.
Because adults know that the world is filled with terrible things. They all want to at least protect the pure dreams of a child.
Ew, Beatrice exists! Exists!
Yes, she does. Beatrice does exist, right? Some time ago, when I was drying mackerel to make some black tea, Christ, suddenly...
Okay, well, it basically goes something like that. Supposedly, at least.
So, simply put, this was supposed to be a witch that no one but Maria believed in.
I wouldn't phrase it quite like that. The point isn't that we didn't believe. We were all trying to give her a chance to believe.
So this is about not betraying a child's innocence. But Santa doesn't exist in reality. If you don't want kids to be all disappointed when they learn the truth, you'd be better off not showing them that dream in the first place. It's the fact that I think this is proof that I'm still a long way from becoming a full adult. The true nature of the Rokenjima witch was finally starting to take shape in Battler's mind. However, their current situation overrode this understanding. And in fact, it completely overturned its very premise. So, we thought we knew what was going on, but now Beatrice the witch has actually appeared in reality. Is that it? And judging by how freaked our parents were, it looked like she wasn't an invited guest. Now it's starting to get interesting.
There's no reason for us to simply assume that a woman called Beatrice doesn't exist. It's what Uncle Rudolph called a devil's proof. None of us knew that woman calling herself Beatrice existed. But that's not the same as proving that Beatrice doesn't exist.
Right?
Dr. Nanjo, you've been friends with Grandfather for a long time, right?
Thoughts? At one point during the family conference, I was questioned quite thoroughly by Kraus and the others. They wanted to know if long ago, Kenzo might have had a mistress called Beatrice and an illegitimate child with her. I get it. Our parents have their heads full with the inheritance problem. So of course, if the daughter of a mistress like that showed up, it'd be troublesome for them. Kraus and the rest probably asked Genji about it first. However, Genji is an aide who's sworn loyalty to Kinzo, and is probably a friend more trusted by Kinzo than myself. I doubt he told them anything. So next, they went to ask me, as an old friend of his. And? Did Grandfather have a lover called Beatrice, Dr. Nanjo? He did. No, I have never met her. However, I have heard from Kinzo that he had a relationship with a woman like that. He said she passed away a very long time ago. She's dead. So the two of them... Oh wait, she's dead. So did the two of them have a kid? That I do not know. But Kinzo always says that reviving Beatrice is the goal of his research. Usually if one loses a mistress but has a child left behind to remember them by, they pour all of their love onto that child. Therefore, we naturally assumed that there was no such child between Kinzo and Beatrice. But if this is the case, this Beatrice, they said, appears to be in her, like, early 20s, right? Which means that the mistress Beatrice died in the last 20 years or so, because she would have obviously had to give given birth to the new Beatrice, right? So that leaves us with another devil's proof. Yeah, it's impossible to prove that a child between him and a mistress didn't exist. So now that this child has actually appeared, we have to assume she did exist after all. That's a bit of a rushed argument. It's more realistic that someone caught wind of the trouble with the Ushiromiyas family inheritance, knew about Grandfather's relationship with a mistress long ago, and impersonated her, trying to take a slice of the inheritance for themselves. Sure, that is realistic, but we can't deny the possibility that she really is an illegitimate child. One who lived in isolation, forgotten by grandfather, and who's returned for revenge, right? Revenge? What do you mean? Ah, sorry. Guys just like to dramatize stuff to make it sound interesting. I've seen too many weird dramas. Normally that might have come off as a light joke, but the joke had landed after an uninvited mystery guest calling herself Beatrice had marched in on the day of the family conference where the bloody argument that the inheritance had become took center stage. There was no way Batwer's joke would be welcomed with laughter, so it was a really big help when Nanjo laughed brightly to calm everyone down. Ha ha ha, I see, that does sound quite intriguing. I would love to read a novel with a plot like that. Well, I don't think it could actually work. After all, right now on this island, there's 1, 2, 3, a full 18 people, right? If anyone tries to do something weird, they'll immediately get caught. And thanks to the typhoon, they can't even leave the island. In other words, if you tried to commit some crazy crime, you'd be screwed. I agree. In a dead end, without any way to escape, and in a situation where everyone's really suspicious of her, I seriously doubt she could pull off a terrifying revenge drama like that. Probably not. In that case, it would be more realistic if she had come in secret, without making her presence known. I simply cannot imagine someone appearing openly to take revenge outside of some historical drama. Well, who knows, right? Revenge is based on emotion, not logic. If you got someone willing to go down along with their opponent, they might not be afraid of anything, not even the police or large numbers of people. It's okay, Jessica. None of the disturbing things we're imagining will happen. Yeah, like the battle royale between our parents over the inheritance isn't disturbing. Christ, they're playing Fortnite. No! That's right. Dad and Uncle Rudolph are pretty tough, and Aunt Eva's even trained in the martial arts. We'll be fine. Yeah. Jessica didn't say it out loud, but she'd vaguely noticed that her own father stood in opposition to all the other siblings on the inheritance issue. They usually played nice in front of the children, but when that pretense was lifted away, it had been at dinner. Like it had been at dinner, the result would be a tumultuous uproar. After realizing this, it was only natural for Jessica to be frightened at the thought that her parents might get caught up in some kind of trouble, and become human sacrifices for something terrifying. Foreshadowing! Seriously, George is right. Nothing's gonna happen. Even if she pretends she's a witch, what can a single human woman who can't even use magic do? And then Maria, right? Yep. Wow, I'm great at reading, aren't I? Except not reading words, I mean reading the future events of a book, which is ironic. The sudden, creepy laugh made all of them jump. And when they realized the strange laugh was coming from Maria, they were shocked again.
I see. So that's how you see it, Batwer.
What is? Don't laugh all creepy like that.
You accept Beatrice's existence for now. At least you accept her as the 19th person and a guest. But that's all, right? You don't accept that the 19th person, Beatrice, is a witch, right?
Huh? Of all the crazy things to say, of course it's what I think. Witches couldn't possibly exist. The only possibility is that she's a human woman claiming to be a witch.
Isn't that odd, Batwer? That's a devil's proof, isn't it? Of course witches don't exist, but just because you've never met a witch, that doesn't mean you've proven that witches don't exist, right?
That's right. You're not wrong there. I can't prove that witches don't exist. However, even if I can't prove it, I can claim it. I claim that witches don't exist.
Why? How can you claim that witches don't exist even though you can't prove it?
Because things like that don't exist.
So, that's QED?
Christ, what the fuck is QED? I have no clue. I feel like I've heard of that before, but probably in like an English class in 5th grade or something.
You finish your proof without any evidence or basis? Now there's a typical case of the ignorant willfully ignoring the shallowness of their own knowledge. A reckless suspension of thought.
Then there's only one way to resolve this, Maria. The witch's side needs to show some proof themselves. It's a devil's proof again. If you bring me a devil, we can end this right now. In this case, we can just get this woman calling herself Beatrice to display some wonderful, magnificent magic like the twinkling stars. All she has to do is show us something that's impossible for humans, right? Come now, you two. Please settle down. Kumasawa noticed that the atmosphere between them was getting worse and tried to calm them. It seemed as though Batware quickly realized that he wasn't acting like an adult. But Maria's expression didn't loosen. As she laughed creepily, she kept staring at Batware. You quit it too, Maria. Let's get back in a good mood, okay? Dots.
If that's what you want, Beatrice will definitely show you. Something impossible for humans. When she does, you'll believe too, okay? You'll believe in Beatrice.
Sure. If she lets me have a look, I'll believe.
It's a chess debate between the witch and you, Batware. If you get checkmated, you'll believe in the witch.
Ooh, I like the way you put that. The witch shows her magic. My king is put into check. I quibble, saying it'd be possible to reproduce her feat using measures even a human could take, and my king escapes. Failing to do that would be checkmate, so that's a pretty good analogy.
Batware, in chess you and your opponent have pieces that move in the same way, so you can predict your opponent's moves. But you know what? What you aren't expecting is that your opponent's pieces might be able to move in ways far stranger than yours. You simply assume that, since witches must not exist, the movements of Beatrice's pieces will obviously be the same as your own. But you know what? Sorry, Batware, but your chess partner isn't human. She's a witch. She can move her pieces in ways that humans can't. Right now, your understanding is flawed. Batware, you like Aunt Kyrie's chessboard thinking, right?
Yeah, I like that style of thinking, where you stand in your opponent's shoes.
And that's why you'll get stuck. Even though your opponent is a witch, you won't accept it. So you can't understand the moves a witch might make, and your chessboard thinking won't work. Your knowledge of your opponent is mistaken. The very first premise of chessboard thinking is broken down.
Ah, so that's your game.
You cannot win in chess against a witch.
Yeah, bullshit. Chess still has rules, after all. Okay, I guess we'll continue. I was gonna end the episode here, but I thought it was gonna go back to the parents or whatever, but now it's just the proposal again.
I don't know what happened after that. We servants were strictly ordered not to approach the dining room.
I see. So Shannon, have you ever met this person called Beatrice before?
I don't know.
That was a slightly odd way to say it. It didn't sound quite as if she was saying her memory was hazy.
For us servants, Beatrice is the second master of this mansion. Some people say we've spread that rumor because of Master's influence. But even when I just started working here, the story of Beatrice was already being whispered of.
I've heard about it before. If you don't show her respect, you'll get cursed. And at least one servant actually did meet with an accident, right?
Yes, but it's true that some people believed more than others. I, believe respect for that sort of thing shouldn't be forgotten. So I have never doubted that she exists. I vaguely believe that a, shadowy being called the Golden Witch existed.
And then that witch, whose existence was so shadowy and obscure, actually showed herself and entered openly through the entrance hall. Is that what happened?
I don't know. I don't know anything.
When you brought her dinner, did you talk about anything?
No, nothing.
I see. Still, a witch that eats food somehow doesn't sound so realistic. Maybe, after all, it's just someone who knows about the witch legend on this island. Someone who's taking on Beatrice's name. I think you've probably come to respect Beatrice and think of her as something like a guardian god of the mansion. So when a person appeared actually going by that name, maybe you were a little disturbed.
That's right. I guess that must be the case.
George was slightly at a loss at what to do about Shannon's downcast appearance. Maybe not just Genji, but even the young servants had been ruthlessly questioned as to whether they knew anything about this Beatrice person. Thinking that, he tried to cheer her up somehow. Surely, just like Maria and Jessica, Shannon was unable to fully hide the agitation caused by the sudden visit of this person calling herself the Golden Witch. He'd been so sure that was the case, but George probably had no way of looking into Shannon's heart. Shannon was bitter and sad. The door to the Golden Land would be opened. The witch had definitely told her that. That meant the demise of everything. Even if she accepted the ring from George, they would never be married now. No, in the first place, did furniture like her even have the right to be married? Even if the witch hadn't come to signal their demise, wasn't their relationship fated to fail sooner or later? Had she turned her gaze to focus solely on those fun days spent with George, while purposefully closing her eyes to the sad reality? What's wrong? You really haven't looked well for a while now.
George, what does it mean to be engaged?
Huh? It means making a promise to marry. But I think in that sense, it means the same thing as marriage. To be honest, I want to take you home as my wife right away. But right now, I'm in the middle of training, and I'm still a long way from having the capacity to create my own castle. That's why I want to take you home with me with my head held high, only after I've become a full adult. I'm not talking about the distant future. I just want you to wait a short 3 years. But that doesn't mean I want to lie about my feelings for another 3 years. So I've decided to give you an engagement ring. That might be a shameful reason as a man. Maybe it's shameful to get engaged because I want you to wait, since I can't support my work and a wife at the same time yet. Okay, I have to click 3 times, I guess, but I will definitely.
Thank you very much. I understand that to you, George, an engagement ring means something different from one of many presents you'd give to a lover.
Of course it's different. An engagement ring isn't a simple accessory. It's an oath between lovers, a noble promise left in the form of a ring.
So if we were to get married right away, it'd be completely meaningless, right?
Then it wouldn't be an engagement ring. I'd give it to you as a wedding ring. Either way, I'd still be giving you a ring.
So it's a sold sign, like saying this woman is mine, nobody touch her.
No, that's not what I... George knew that he was weak by nature. When he'd been captivated by Shannon and had sworn to become an excellent man, he had also sworn to throw away that weak part of himself. So even if he had to be blunt about it, he chose to answer a little roughly. He was sure that doing so would bolster and reassure Shannon. No, that may be true. Sayo, I'll make you my wife. I won't give you to anyone else. I'll make you mine alone. So no one will lay a hand on you. That's what this ring is, without a doubt.
Thank you very much, George. I'm truly happy.
Then, George, if it was decided by fate that this engagement ring, that this promise could never be fulfilled, would you still give it to me? Shannon tried to ask that, but she swallowed her words. Because George had already spoken the answer. George had said it. He had said that to him an engagement ring was infinitely similar to a wedding ring. Therefore, accepting George's ring had a significance far more sacred than a promise to marry. So, I'll stop calling this an engagement ring. From now on, this isn't an engagement. It's a wedding ring.
Is that really okay? Is it okay to, just proclaim that we're married even without God's blessing?
Yeah. It's enough to tell God, Father, and Mother about it afterwards. We'll tell them all that we've been married. No one will be able to undo it.
George.
I'm not saying this because of a momentary emotion. I'm not just looking at how you are now. I'm looking at the you of tomorrow, of the next day. I'm even gazing at you as you'll be in old age, in the future, as I say this.
You're always talking about that, George. About how you want to enjoy your old age slowly, surrounded by healthy children and grandchildren.
Yeah. At that time, an older you will be beside me. This is what I expect. No. What I foresee. Yes. Because that day will surely come.
Will it surely come?
Yes. Surely. Definitely. And this ring proves it without words.
Please, show me.
Huh? Here it is. George, thinking he was being told to show her the ring, hurriedly took out the ring box. Even though he had practiced so much, he hadn't been able to do it cool. But Shannon wasn't looking at that. In her straight, direct gaze were vague tears and a smile. She focused her eyes on George's eyes. No, on something she could see beyond his eyes.
Please, show me that future.
Yeah, I'll show you. Surely. I promise it. And not just until old age, after we die too. Even when we become spirits, we'll always be together. Dun 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 dun. Shannon wiped away her tears and took the ring box. Inside was a diamond ring worthy of blessing the two of them. George said the line that he'd practiced over and over again inside his head. I want you to put this ring on, whatever finger you like, and have that be your answer. So by tomorrow morning... Shannon smiled, took the ring, and with a completely natural movement, put it on the ring finger of her left hand. It really had looked like such a natural, ordinary movement, and for a while, George was stunned.
This is my answer, George.
Shannon. No, Sayo. Even when we become spirits, we'll always be together. Oh wait, shit.
Even when we become spirits, we'll always be together, George.
There was no blessing from God, no pastor to witness, nothing. But the two who were married proclaimed it. Two souls were joined here today. And then shatter, right? And then shatter. 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 Christ. No shatter? No shatter. Just a really long transition. Do we continue? Nah. So that's gonna be it for this episode. If you liked it, be sure to press the like button, and if you didn't like it, fuck you too. Remember to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all my videos and stuff. And as always, my name is Godzi, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye!